Go to g2a.com. Click Start Selling. Fast login. Go to My Account and click on Selling tab. Sell new item. Enter name, code, set a price. And done. G2A.com Digital Marketplace. Global selling simplified.
And after that, as you said, Thais versus Colento. And what's more important is the fact that this playoff is being played in double elimination bracket. So whoever loses this round is not eliminated yet. They still have the way up from the losers bracket.
Yeah, it's actually really important because that allows people who lose the first match, like Amaz yesterday lost to Lostov and Strifecrow lost to Firebat. They're now going to face each other in the losers round 1, which we'll be covering at some later point, and then they have a chance to get into the winners finals, the grand finals, that is. In fact, the people who get in the grand finals, there's one person from the winners bracket, basically, and one person who goes through the entire losers bracket up to the grand final. So it's going to be a really interesting format, something I do love. And it's a best of 5 conquest. So again, a lot of strategy going into the deck building and the deck choices that people take. So pretty excited to see where this ends up with Lifecoach playing today.
And interesting fact that both Lifecoach and Thais will be playing also after this tournament into another league. So I wonder how much of, exposure will this showing here give them to their opponents, because they're playing against Archon. So I'm wondering if they're actually all watching the matches right now. I think they should, because they want to snipe and you spy on their opponents, right?
Yeah, you get a bit of a it's always nice to look at other leagues and other tournaments where opponents are going to be participating, so you get information about the future matches. It's one of those things. You absolutely need to get it. And I mean, again, Lifecoach is and always has been a very predictable player, but it hasn't stopped him from doing just amazingly well in every single tournament he's entered recently.
That's one of the unique characteristics of Lifecoach, I would say. Like almost everyone that I know from the pro players, they try to switch around their whole lineups, and usually it works for them, because if they're kind of sticking up to one plan, they can they really start to lose against players that will be attacking against those. Like in KPL when we did the cast, Hyped was one of the players that actually had a really big issue at the start of the league. He was always playing Rogue, always playing Mage, and the third class was I can't remember what, but he was always playing Rogue and Mage, and
always every single time.
Yeah, and that was easily taken. That was taken by. I mean, that did make a huge advantage for his opponents.
Yeah, so, because the moment you can predict it, what was really cool though about, I guess, the way Hyped approached it is he always had, a freeze mage one week, then a tempo mage, then a, duplicate mage sort of. So he always switched the archetypes around, but it was always the same class lineup. Although the third class I think varied a bit, it was always rogue mage. Those were like the standard classes you had to expect from him. And Lifecoach on the other end always brought handlock. Like I think there's not a single week where he didn't, but his variants of handlock were very different. Some of them didn't even include, if I recall, like some of them were just pure demon and didn't even have giants in them at some point. So he was playing like Twilight Drakes with some mix of just demon handlock, which was really interesting, but very, very different approach to the deck building there for Lifecoach.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love to watch players switch around with their same archetypes, but switch around with the techs. And this is really important in most of the tournaments that we are seeing right now, because most of the players will know who are they against in the round one, and sometimes winning round one is the most important thing in the whole tournament.
Yeah,
and
especially in getting double elimination, I was going to say, is that's basically where you need to win the first round, because that way, I mean, if you look at Strivecro and Amaz, I mean, they lost yesterday, they have a chance, and I think the key word here is a chance to get to the grand finals. The thing is, the earlier you lose, the more of a climb it is back up, because you have to go through the first round again, and then a second and third, and then to the grand finals, which, if you just account for the variance of the way Hearthstone works, very frequently, it's difficult, if not impossible, for a lot of people.
Yeah, if you look at double elimination bracket, it's basically they start in quarters, but if they lose, they get to the 116 back, and they have to climb back. Right, in the amount of rounds, it's basically like the 116.
Right.
So they have to get back to the grand finals like with a really long road.
Yeah, and I like that Lifecoach really this year has been doing amazingly well. I mean, if you just look at his results from 2015, in fact, I think all his results are from 2015. Am I mistaken? Like, basically,
No.
if you have to look at Lifecoach's career, he was known in 2014. I mean, everybody knew about that Sunshine Hunter that he popularized a long time ago. But as far as tournament wins, I mean, even just the top eights. If you include the top eights and where he places, suddenly his results just increased drastically. But he's gotten like 5 first places at this point in 2015 alone, which is just a huge amount. It's just incredible for him.
Yeah, that's true. Like Lifecoach made a huge improvement in 2015, and it's one of the reasons the fact that he wasn't really focusing on Heartstone in 2014. He was doing other stuff still, and right before we agreed on him being part of Nihilum, he said, okay, now it's the time to try hard and to actually focus on Heartstone. And you can see the results. He's doing really well, and I never seen him so into the game. Like, he's always thinking about it. He always talks about it, so it's really cool to see that kind of commitment from a player. On the other hand, we have... Yep.
Go ahead.
Please go.
I was just going to speak about Thijs, the second player from Nihilum against which he might face off. Like, Thijs has also been very steady since 2014. I mean, ever since he started playing on the competitive circuit, he's been doing fairly well. He's consistent. He gets, top 4 in multiple events here and there. If he doesn't get first, I think he got one in the recent Invitational, although that kind of, that goes back like in March, I think. He was in an Invitational and took the first spot. He's been doing fairly well, and he's a very consistent player. He also streams quite a bit, and honestly, his streaming play is really solid. Like, I like watching him just ladder nonstop.
Yeah, and playing ladder while streaming is incredibly hard. At least for me, it's like I make so much mistakes when I stream, try to interact, and play ladder at high level. It's really hard. So kudos to people to actually who actually can do that, because that's it's really tough.
Yeah, I've tried. So Lifecoach is going to be going up against Orange. We talked about, I think I was casting Orange in the recently, just in the Vulcan matches. He hasn't really done well at all in that league. He's lost every match that he's entered, and he's not feeling too good about it. And it's a parallel event, so Vulcan and the Star Ladder are going kind of simultaneously. So I hope those losses over there and that lack of consistency in his own results or how he perceives himself don't really affect his play in the Star Ladder League.
Well, Orange has I think like this is the effect of when you win 2 huge tournaments in a row, basically. The statistics can't lie. You will lose at some point. You can have that amount of luck, because I can't deny, of course, he is a great player because he is one. But we all know how it works in card games. In poker, it's the same. You're on the top, and then you'll be on the down. I mean on the bottom for some time, and then you'll be up again. It just works like that. So for Orange, it might be the time when he actually is losing. But what is the ground problem of that? Might be fewer factors, and I hope it's not the problem with his level of plays. I mean,
yeah, I mean, like, he's already won 2 big events in 2015. So like, it's still very recent. We can't say, oh, he's been on a dry streak. That's absolutely false. We'd be lying if we said anything of the sort. It's just that he probably expects more from himself, perhaps. When he does get those results that might not conform to what he'd love to get. But nonetheless, a pretty solid player. Sometimes might view himself as slightly inconsistent, unfortunately. And now, as far as the opponent, Kolento, the Tice's opponent Kolento, I don't think his reputation is to be made at this point. There's like I almost feel like whenever I talk about Kolento and present him as a player who's going to be playing today, I might as well just not. I might as well just say he's like Kolento is going to be playing and just prepare to witness some possibly weird decks, but he always pilots them so well. It's just amazing to see.
That's true. Kolento is one of the most consistent players in Hearthstone scene in general. I always like seeing him play because he's one of the players that actually play Priest in tournaments. And I really like that. Yeah, because always when you see Priest, the deck is not that intuitive to play. Like when you play Druid, you always play on curve, and that's your goal when you play a Druid deck, right? Like a mid-range one. When you play Priest, sometimes it's really you have to be doing something off curve just to achieve like to see the bigger picture here. And Priest is one of those decks that is really hard to play, and I love people that bring Priest to tournaments, and I hope that Kolento will bring one today.
Yeah, what's interesting is I actually was watching him ladder, I think yesterday or something. He was running a weird Priest deck that had no win condition, basically. Like, it couldn't possibly win against much. And yet, he beat a Patron Warrior with it, and even he couldn't understand it. He's like, well, I guess my Priest deck is good. It's just like that the way Kolento approaches Hearthstone, it feels lighthearted when you watch him play because he makes all these moves automatically without, it seems, even thinking about it too much. Like, you see him think, but he doesn't look hyper-focused the way that Lifecoach is grabbing his head behind his hands. Yet he still makes nigh perfect plays every single time, and he always plans 2 turns ahead. Like, he looks at all the ways he could lose the game, and this is something I love from Kolento. He says, these are the ways I could lose the game. How do I counter them? As opposed to saying necessarily, like, how can I win? He's very good at foresight.
Yeah, that's very true. Like every single of the pro player at the highest level have that approach to the game, and that's the problem with casting the pro players, because you're not sitting in their head, and sometimes they actually have different mindsets and different opinions about stuff. Like in the long term, because they almost all of the pro players can agree what is the best play in the current turn. But when they actually do brainstorming of the upcoming turns, they differ drastically. Like, some of the players have different opinions of the matchups, and this is the biggest difference between the pro players. And this is how you can like divide those players by play style too. So
right.
Kolento's one of the players it's really interesting to watch, but it's really hard to get into his head. I mean, that's one of the bigger tasks
Mysteries.
for casters too, and for the viewers to actually get to know Kolento for his game plan.
Yeah, it's like even on stream sometimes he'll explain it and you'll understand it, but then in order to really get it, you have to look 2 turns ahead for it to make sense right now, which is sometimes a pretty arduous task. If you're not used to looking at 2 turns ahead of time, like all the great players do, then it looks like he's just making subpar moves, but then it all seems to make sense most of the time. Sometimes your plays backfire. Yeah, exactly. All the pieces start assembling, and Kolento's plays suddenly fit together, and they lead to sometimes just convincing and crushing victories. So I'm just excited to see what he brings today. I mean, he played OTK Warrior recently with the Raging Worgen. We saw him play that in the Vulcan League, I believe. And
instead of Patron.
Instead of Patron, no frauding Berserkers, OTK Worgen, and he completely stomped Bunny Muffins, who had absolutely no way to... He couldn't believe it. Bunny Muffins was shaking his head all the way through. Kolento just playing Raging Worgen. I don't know if it's because he wanted it to be amusing or if he knew his opponent would play around Patron or what it was. But
that's really interesting.
Yeah, it was quite impressive. So maybe he'll bring something else again today to surprise us. In the meantime, I guess, can you theorize what Lifecoach is going to bring? Like, do you think he's going to bring Handlock again?
Handlock, Paladin, Druid.
That's it. All right. Well, I think Hunter is a pretty solid deck. He plays it well. I mean, he used to love the class. I don't know if he still stands by it the same way he used to, but it was a class that, and it's still fairly performing. Like, it's not, it's top tier still. If he wants to.
But we discussed this. We discussed this yesterday when we were casting that the Face Hunter is kind of maybe the phasing out sentence might be too harsh for Face Hunter, but mid range kind of takes over the place of Face Hunter. And look at that, Lifecoach is playing Druid, Warlock, and Warrior.
No Paladin, but
no
kind
Paladin.
of standard still. Really, in the those are like the 4 classes you expect him to play. Like that's about it. Yeah, Warrior, Handlock. Like I say Handlock. What if he brings Zoo? It's always possible. You never know. But
Demon Lock. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Druid, Warlock, Warrior, Paladin are like the 4 classes I associate the most with Lifecoach because they're very slow paced. But I don't remember seeing him playing a ton of Control Warrior before Patron came around. So, did he have to just get used to it, or?
Well, he was playing more Mech Warrior than Control Warrior this time. So
Oh man, I remember that.
Yeah, he was one of the players that was actually inventing the Mech Warrior, and his version, when it was fairly new, was crashing the ladder because no one knew how to play around it. So when it was new, it was actually very good. But then after one day, it was complete trash, and that was the problem.
It's one of those decks where it's like the Hobgoblin Civis deck. You remember, like it took people by surprise. It won, it got to Legend or something, climbed pretty high. But the moment you know what's in there and what's waiting for you, suddenly you stop playing around. You stop playing slowly because the Paladin's trying to bum rush you in one turn. So you keep that spot removal. You know what to remove. As a result of that. So those decks tend to come in and then get phased out, kind of like the OTK Worgen. I don't think we'll see that again from Kolento because that's a one-trick pony. You bring it out, once every 2 months, and then you just wreck someone. They get surprised. It's great for the viewers, and it's also a fun experience for you. So
yeah, I still wait to someone to bring a Priest Patron for tournament.
Kolento could do it. We look at Orange's lineup, though. Like, I haven't really talked about it, but basically the only difference is one of them is bringing Hunter, the other has Druid. Then again, their Warlock could be anything.
Yeah, the Warlock can be even Mech Warlock, because I did encounter some today on ladder. And I was thinking about why people play Mech Warlock. I was like,
Fell Cannon carries so hard. Oh, man.
I didn't see Fell Cannons, but I was wondering if someone actually streamed that like yesterday, or what's the reason?
Challenge Stone. Everybody was playing Warlock with a mech in Challenge Stone because it's just so solid. You play Fell Cannon and you win.
Best card in the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, Orange could play Zoo. I mean, I do pin him on more of a Zoo player, perhaps, than Lifecoach. Then again, he has experience enough with the class that he could bring about anything. I'm just curious to know if he's going to bring Hybrid Hunter or more of a mid-range one, because a Phase Hunter, as you said, kind of phasing out. Mid-range Hunter is probably going to be fairly solid against the Warrior from Lifecoach and the Druid. Those two are really solid. And it's also good against Handlock, if that's what he brought.
Yeah, that's true. Like the Hunter might be the best pick against Lifecoach if it's like pure mid range, because it kind of stomps Druids and it stomps Druids. Let's stop at that. And then it's very good at playing when being played against Patron Warrior and Control Warrior and Handlock. Yeah. But it's really weak against Zoo.
Yeah, like it's really weak against Zoo. That is definitely true. But how much do you pin Lifecoach on it if you're Orange? I mean, I love Hybrid Hunter. That's what I love about the class, the deck. That is that it's taking a bit of face and a bit of mid range, mashing them together, and suddenly Patron Warrior, instead of being a bad matchup when you're playing mid range or face, is favored. When you're playing Hybrid, you're turning the table around against Patron, and you're also keeping your good matchup against Handlock. You're also keeping a good matchup against Druid, so you're not losing anything by going for Hybrid. So Orange picking that Hunter, I think, makes a lot of sense.
So what's your favorite choices of cards in a Hybrid? What do you cut and what do you throw in when it comes to the usual Face Hunter changing to Hybrid?
I think you'd have to at least cut the explosive traps. Those are pretty mandatory. The Wolf Riders also can help quite a bit, pushing on aggression, depending if you're facing off against Handlock or not. That's not everybody's favorite, tech, if you will. So going for snake traps and freezings is pretty solid.
Do you cut both Arcane Golems in the Hybrid? For, let's say, you have to get 2 Savanas High Mains in that deck, right?
Right.
And probably a low tip. So you have to cut 3 cards from the standard Face Hunter. So you cut like Glaive Zukas for that, right? And let's say 1 Arcane Golem. So you put
1 Arcane Golem, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, so you put 3 huge minions in that. Then you change the explosive traps for freezing traps. And you got
And you can put in a
yourself a hybrid.
snake. Yeah, you can get yourself a snake trap. It's like there's like 6 cards difference really between mid range, between phase that is, and hybrid. So hybrid is really more on the aggressive side than on the mid range side. If you really have to look at it that way, that's definitely it. All right, we're getting word by the admins that Orange is currently trying to connect to the Heartstone servers, and he's having some issues. So the match should be coming. They'll have to get underway as soon as they can.
Yeah, well, we can talk. We can chat more against.
Yeah.
I mean, about hunters. That's so fascinating. But about talking about hunters and fascinating, the yesterday's match between Strifecrow and Amaz, like when they had the mirror matches from mid-range hunters, that was really amazing to watch.
Yeah, that was actually.
Sorry, it's Strifecrow versus Firebat.
Strifecrow versus Firebat. Yeah, it was the different match, but it's the fact that they're not playing face really changes the dynamic of it. I mean, I think, and we spoke of that yesterday. You know, it's one of those things where face hunter versus face hunter is not interesting, but any other hunter. Right. Like, for you it is, okay, I don't find it that compelling, but I really love watching face hunter versus another hunter, let's say, or two mid-ranges battling out, or hybrids with mid-range against face. So it's like a mix of all those archetypes together. As soon as you get, for me at least, away from the double face mirror match, then suddenly things become really interesting, because the traps are always different in every single list that you see.
And sometimes people are even cutting one freeze trap for, let's say, misdirection. I actually saw that.
As a troll.
Yeah, well, you can just mind games your opponent, because usually they just attack into the mad scientist to pop the freezing trap, and then you have no second freezing trap, and they're like,
right,
you know, oh, well, this changes a lot, and now I can attack with my Savannah Hymen because that's misdirection, or maybe I can attack into it because it might be snipe, and you can't really know what's happening. And you can also assume that some people will play snipe because Patron is so popular on ladder.
Well, you speak of that, but like Neria was playing yesterday. He was playing a hunter list with 2 Stranglethorn Tigers, a Jungle Panther, and a Snipe. So, and he brought that, and he actually crushed his opponent yesterday with that hunter list. So it was like a mid-range hunter, or at least it looked like one, with those cards sprinkled in, just to make the mid-range, like, it's not, you can't sap them, you can't remove them, you can't execute them. You can always get a good trade up, and the way to remove those right now is not very common. I mean, Paladin has a good way to do it because they've got equality consec, but any other class, I mean, how do you deal with those guys when they're stealthed at the moment?
Yeah, but still, when you're on the play, you're turn 5, so the equality consecration is one turn after that. And if
after
you had,
that, yeah.
if you had just hit once with a 5/5 minion, that might be the game. If you're the hunter, right? You just deal so much damage with one attack. Also, interesting is that the fact that it's Stranglehold Tiger, I think, has a huge advantage over Lotep because it's a beast and if you play 2 Handmasters, right? If you have 2 Handmasters, you want to play Stranglehold Tigers instead of Loteps. I mean, instead of Lotep. I think you might want to play 2 if Lotep would be like a usual card, I would say.
He was running 2 Stranglethorns, 1 Lotheb, and what I really loved is that it gave him so many ways to just punch through Sludge Belchers. That is the biggest selling point for me, was he could just kill Sludge Belchers without being worried at all. Which I thought was a really big thing. I hope I get to see a deck like that again. This reminds me, like when I was casting, I was saying, hey, this reminds me of a deck that Thoida would make, you know, just putting in those weird cards, and you're like, what is this doing here? And then it turns out, and I asked this afterwards, Thoida actually helped Neria prep for that tournament. So by helping each other, they came upon this deck that just had completely, you know, off the mark cards that ended up working out magnificently.
I can see that happening with Thoida. You know, when we were preparing together for the last year's BlizzCon, and we spent a lot of time practicing together, and always we talked about the different ideas, different decks, the whole. We actually talked more about unusual decks than the actual top tier, so just to find something to catch people off guard, and it worked really well for him. Like. He advanced actually to the BlizzCon Stockholm qualifier for the top 16, but due to private issues, he couldn't attend. So that was really a pity.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great deck builder. I love his creativity. I mean, I can only think of Gara and Thoida really that have
Hmm.
this propensity to make decks that you just don't expect. And Freud was saying yesterday, Gara, when he makes a tech, like when he brings a mech hunter deck to a tourney that we saw a while back, when he
Oh
makes
yeah.
those calls, Temple Storm very often disagrees with him half the time. So it's not as though those decks are going to be widely accepted. It's just that he's trying to take his own type of mentality into the metagame, which I have to respect that. You've got to respect that in a player.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, problem is that I still remember the game when Gara was playing the Metal Tooth Leaper, and it was
Yeah, that's
so.
exactly it. You couldn't figure out what the intent was. I mean, I have been blown out of the water by some hunters who god draw, but that's the key word. God draw. When they get those double mech
Yeah.
warper openers, whether or not they've got the Metal Tooth Leaper, they're still going to punch your face off. Like, it doesn't matter. So it was just a weird experiment, and we never heard of it again, which I guess just goes to
Well,
show that he didn't have faith in it.
yeah, I just think that that shows how much Metal Tooth Leaper is good right now. It's just it's just not good enough, and that's it. Like the effect for a specific hunter card for 3 mana is not enough to balance the a small body for the 3 mana. So a free with a such a specific effect for only mechs is just not enough to cut to be used in a mech hunter. I think I would even not use it if I would play a mech hunter. I would just drop a
Yeah,
spider
you just
thing
put
instead.
other things. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. All right, so back to the lineups a little bit here. The Warriors, do you think they're both playing patrons, or is one of them bringing a control warrior? Again, warrior has come back since patron came up. I mean, that's
Yeah.
been kind of the reason why Control Warrior came back, because Patron was all over the place. Sure, you could play all rogue to beat Patron Warrior, but you can also play the other warrior, the more
Yeah,
standard one.
but if someone wants to counter Patron with a rogue and plays Patron himself, then the counter warrior is practically countering two classes.
Two
Because
classes, yeah, at once.
yeah,
Exactly.
well, maybe not countering because the old rogue actually has some chances against counter warrior. It's not like the old Miracle versus Contra Warrior matchup where the Contra Warrior was just out of reach at some point for the rogue. He just didn't have the damage needed. And now that the rogues are using more minions, and the old rogue has also the option to buff that minion to a really insane amount of attack, it still has the chances. But here we go to the game. Like, we're jumping straight to the first match. It's Patron versus Midrange Hunter.
All right, so it looks like Lifecoach playing as the warrior, the patron warrior, as expected, and Orange playing a mid-range hunter. I mean, that Sludge Belcher is the selling point. If you had any doubts whether or not it was going to be... I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even think Hybrid runs Sludge Belcher, as far as I'm aware.
Well, we have three specific cards for mid-range. Hunter's Mark, Freezing Trap, and Sludge Belcher.
Exactly, so it's very... Unless Orange is really making a weird hybrid shot, it's going to be a standard mid-range. And again, Patron Warrior is usually, sort of okay. It's a good six. Oh my god, did you see that?
Yes.
Did you? He went into stealth as soon as we spotted it. A wild Stranglethorn Tiger appears.
Wow. And Lifecoach kept Death's Bite against the hunter, so he knows that this is a mid-range hunter. I don't know how, but I bet that this wouldn't be the keep if he knows that this might be a face hunter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because of the portrait. You see Illyria, you're like, this guy's trying to get away from the typical Rexar face mentality. So he's obviously playing mid-range.
Lifecoach is going ham with the first weapon. That's because he wants to play the pirate on turn 3, most likely, and has 3 weapons in his hand. That's something you don't really want to see in your opening hand against a hunter, especially.
Yeah, he's getting weapon clogged, and that's one of the worst things you could ever get, honestly. But the worst part is he's gonna also have, like, does he have to pop the spider? Because you have to be afraid of Houndmaster, right? Like, you've got to be afraid of that.
You're kind of aware that most of the mid-range hunters are now playing double Houndmasters, and this is a selling point, I think, of the move to actually kill the spider, even if it's getting you more damage. I mean, more damage for your opponent. I think it's still the play. But
I mean, you're also protecting your Corsair by doing so, right? Like the only thing that really would kill it, you've got to be afraid of a bow no matter what. But by killing the spider, you also not be afraid of the Houndmaster on top of the bow. It's like you're removing one of the outs, perhaps, from the roster of things that would really punish you.
That's true. So I guess this would mean that Lifecoach will kill the spider tank. Spider tank. The
spider tank.
The Hunt Creeper after he plays the Dread Corsair.
I mean, there's an argument not to do it because you have the Death Bite you can develop and just ping it afterwards. But I think that's a very... He might slam it. No, he doesn't. Okay. Well, I can bet you that Orange is going to seize that opportunity to buff up the Spider and get himself a pretty good curve afterwards, getting the Shredder, the 5-drop, and Orange is looking at a sick hand right now.
This is something that Lifecoach doesn't want to see at all.
Like, you could always just go, you know, Inner Rage on it.
Yeah, I think you Inner Rage and go Death Spite to the face, you know? Because then you can use Slam on the Houndmaster. And kill it with next turn. Yeah.
Well, Lifecoach thinks differently, wants to take damage instead of Battle Rage, but he would have taken it anyway. So... What could he want to play next turn? Do you think he really wants to get himself... he wants to find Acolyte of Pain probably here. I mean, that's probably one of the better top decks.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. Well, he will use the Slam on the Pilot Shredder, I would say. Unless... No, wait. Well, I think he favors the draw more than...
the draw is really important. The draw is absolutely important. So I don't disagree, but what if a Whirling Zap-O-Matic comes out? Oh, man. Lifecoach has got balls. That's all I've got to say here. He needs to pick up something good, and that would be it. That wouldn't be half bad. He could actually hold on to that weapon.
You think so?
I mean, I'm thinking, do you ever hold on to that weapon?
Well, then you have to play Battle Rage right now. You play Battle Rage, so next time you can play Commander with Throttling Berserker, attack phase, or kill anything else.
Oh yeah, but like, if a Belcher comes out, I don't think it's going to be doing much for you. Like, you know your Throttling's just going to get roadblocked and die right away. So, yeah, I think there's a...
But this is like assuming that your opponent has the perfect draw. Like, the perfect draw.
I mean, Lothar's not that big of an issue, but the rest could be. Alright, he's just going to drop the Throttling here to contest whatever 2-drop comes out of that Shredder. And it is a Whirling Zap-O-Matic. Are you... Okay, I have to be honest with you, Lothar. Yeah. There's something fishy going on, okay? Because yesterday, I was casting Vulcan with Frodan. Out of like 5 Shredders that popped, we got 4 Zap-O-Matics.
No way. Really?
And now we got another one now. Like, this is getting a bit stupid.
Maybe there's like
There's a problem, man. This makes no sense. This makes no sense to me. Oh,
I think there might be like a cycle in the odds of something dropping out of it, you know?
Well, this is exactly what Slam would have prevented. Like, that's why I said, like, drawing with Slam is good, but if a good 2-drop comes out, you're going to be in a world of pain, and that's pretty much where he's standing right now.
Yeah, that's
in a world of pain.
Well,
Warsong Whirlwind Battle Rage? It's mediocre, mind you, but you need to find that execute or something. Then again, you can't do it. You'd have to find a second Inner Rage off the top to kill the Whirling Zap-O-Matic that gets down to 1 health. I'm
not sure if Lifecoach even plays double Inner Rage.
Okay, it's possible he doesn't. He might just go for the 1 Whirlwind and Battle Rage instead of wasting his Warsong Commander away. I always play Death's Bite on the back end of that too. It's also not too bad.
No, he can't. If he plays Whirlwind and Battle Rage, he can go attack the Throttling Berserker, play Battle Rage, then Death's Bite. But that means he will be at 11 HP next turn, 10 HP.
I mean, that's a really low health count.
Yep.
Well, he's just gonna go for the Battle Rage with 2 cards, which is good enough, really. I mean, it's a better Arcane Intellect at this point. Let's see what he picks up. And he doesn't pick up quite what he wants, but that's a really good card to have for the future. It's at least gonna bait the possible Zap-O-Matic.
I don't think it will. It will be just met with the quick shot. Never mind. Yeah, this will be 3 damage at the face, then kill the Acolyte, and drop the Savannah Highmane. I don't see another.
Do you even kill the Acolyte at this point? I mean, I have to ask because it's a mandatory question.
That's a good point. Yeah,
you
that's a
even
good
kill
point.
it. It's like he gets 7 to the face. He's down at 13. He's got to armor up every turn, plus deal with a high main, which leaves him with very little mana left over to kill everything. And if you had the execute, you can bet he would have played that last turn on your Zap-O-Matic instead of the Acolyte. So, Lifecoach has got to be feeling a bit queasy about this little 2-drop.
Yeah, he goes face. Loaded. Okay.
Denying the eventual execute. Oh. That's actually a surprisingly good card.
This.
So do you ever Warsong Commander?
I think you first draw from the Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
There was one Enrage being used already. You can have a Taskmaster.
Oh, wait. Attack. Oh, no, never mind. It's like... I mean, Iron Beak Cal would really make Lifecoaches... Oh. Does that change? That doesn't change anything, unfortunately. But...
No. I think that's game. That's just game. There's no way for Lifecoach to get out of this.
Like, Lifecoach can always Warsong Commander, fire War Axe, kill the slime and attack with a ghoul into the 5/5. Or just let the ghoul be there. And let orange deal with it. The thing is, you might draw... I don't know, this is just unfortunate. And that Zap-O-Matic again, just taking games. Like, this is so dumb.
Well, I think you
one
could
of those
just...
things.
Yeah. You drop the Berserker, the Unstable Ghoul, and armor up.
I don't think you can armor up, though, because you have to get that AoE down.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's a good point, yeah. Wow, this is so painful. And a freezing trap.
Alright, so is there lethal looming? Attack the ghoul. That's 5 damage.
That's 7. Then you have 3 from quick shot, 5. Now that's 2 of lethal. Wait, no, you can't because you would have to play. What? No, wait. No, never mind. I was counting.
So
like
Lifecoach has like Armor Smith to maybe save him, and I say maybe, and I say it. I mean it. I think Stranglethorn Tiger with Freezing Trap here is usually just an auto win. Or even hero power, quite frankly, doesn't matter too much. As long as you force the opponent to waste his mana on defensive plays. Alright, well, Lifecoach with the not so good draw against Midrange Hunter.
Yeah, definitely not a good draw against Midrange Hunter. I'm still not sure how good was keeping Death Spider in the opening hand when you're going first. It's like... You
could get a lot of more value from earlier cards. I mean, even Armor Smith or Acolyte of Pain are so much better because you can always run into a Creeper, a Mad Scientist. There's a lot of cards for you to really deal with those cards. You would think because it's mid-range, it's going to be a little on the slow end, but it's not like you're facing off against Control Pally.
That's a good point. And also, even the Loot Hoarder would have been better.
Charge forward! The blade be thirsty.
Okay, Lifecoach is gonna go for the trade. Picks up an execute, but it's like 17 turns late.
Still not enough. Like,
yeah, it doesn't matter what he does here.
Doesn't matter because you still died at the Strangleton Tiger.
Maybe he's hoping Orange's internet problems rise up again.
Good point.
Yeah, it's always like that's a beyond the metagame play. Alright, well, Orange is going to take the first game in this best of 5. So 1-0 for Orange. He's got to win with his 3 decks. We know he's got Warlock and a Warrior on the back end, so that's going to be, again...
Well, I assume that the Hunter would be the best deck against Lifecoach lineups, so I assume that the Hunter was like gonna win the game anyway. So this might be just off the table at this point. And now the question is, how much are those warriors teched against each other? If those are like both patrons, if someone is playing Harrison Jones, Brawl, or maybe what else can you play against another warrior? If you play Contra Warrior, if you play Nefarian, might also be a really huge issue.
That's right. I mean, I think that's a good point you're making, is if they're both expecting one another to play Patron, then you can always... It's very easy to tech. And there's a huge debate in the Heartstone community about, you know, which list is the best for Patron Warrior. Very often, I think the optimized list for Patron is still not defined. A lot of people have come up with very, very effective lists, but it seems like a lot of people have their own brew of it. Unlike Mid-Range Hunter, which is pretty much stable, archetype-wise, Patron Warrior is still debated upon, and so Tech King becomes a matter of personal preferences, because there's still like 4 slots that are flexible. That you can tech against aggro, you can play shield block, shield slam. I mean, there's a lot of things for you to do if you're looking for it.
One thing I dislike about the shield slam shield block combo in Patron is the fact that it doesn't have the synergy with the whole deck. Like it's counterproductive. It doesn't achieve the same goals as other cards that you can put in to synergize with Battle Rage most of the time, because that's the card that's carrying this deck. I mean, with a Battle Rage or an Acolyte of Pain that draws, or an Acolyte of Pain that draws more than one card, your deck is basically out of steam at some point. So if you don't kill your opponent with your hand like before turn 7 and 8, when you have an Emperor, right? Then you rely on those card draw mechanics. And if you play shield blocks, which can basically deny you the most of the time the cycle and the combos, it's kind of bad. Well, but that's my personal preference, and that's what actually are you talking about. People are disagreeing a lot about Patron builds, and the problem is, I don't think that's a problem. That's actually a huge thing about Hearthstone in general. The decks have 30 cards. It's way different than what we see in usual card games when the decks are 60 cards, and the metagame is not changing so fast. Like Hearthstone metagame is just, I don't know how to even name that pace. It's
I don't
fast.
think like it's actually to the point where I say, when people ask me what's the metagame, I'm like, there's no metagame, because you queue up and you hope that you face the decks that you're good against, but most of the time it's going to be a mishmash of random stuff. So until I think you hit the very high points of Legend, the metagame is very much random. And then at some point it kind of looks like it's stabilizing towards specific archetypes. Like you will see aggro pally more nowadays, but to say that building an anti-aggro pally deck is going to bring you further, not necessarily, because you might just run into the absolute opposite and get demolished in that way. So it's really that Hearthstone just forces you to play 2 copies. So you have like 15 different cards at least, not accounting for legendaries and one-ofs. So, and in usual TCGs, you know, you're looking at, let's say, 20 to 30 resource cards very often. And the rest basically account for, you know, you have sometimes 4 copies of the same card. So your deck is very, very small.
Yep.
Not quite the same as Hearthstone.
That's very true. That's very true. And also, in the traditional card games, you have your side deck. So most of the time, the basic deck is almost the same with every player, but the differences are in the side deck, in the sideboard.
Right. Yeah, that's where things become very interesting. Yeah. It's just that Hearthstone has so few cards you're gonna side. It's like, I'm gonna put BGHs and MC Tech and Stampeding Kodo. Like, we're all gonna put the same stuff. So maybe one day we'll get sideboards in Hearthstone, or a format rotation, which could be kind of cool. Alright, so we're looking at a Druid. Obviously, it's going to be probably a mid-range Druid with Wild Growth, Innervates, Shredders, and Shades of Nax, versus Lifecoach's Patron Warrior. No, actually, Lifecoach is a Druid player. I lied.
Oh.
They're flipped upside down. Oh god.
And Lifecoach is a Wild Growth, even too. But does it really matter? Well, he goes for the turn 1 Wild Growth, turn 2 Wild Growth, right?
I like that. I mean, if you've got 2 and you've got nothing, but if you had a 3-drop, there's a good argument to make that play anyway. But now he's going to have a good reason to play the second Wild Growth with nothing else to do. Oh man, Orange is not going to be happy about that. That's got to hurt.
Well, he doesn't have that bad of a hand, I would say. Like, Frothing Berserker with Battle Rage in hand, he's only lacking a weapon here because he also has an Execute. Well, this will be a charge, right? Charge into the Frothing Berserker, I would say.
I think so, yeah. I mean, if it eats up an Execute, at least you've taken that 2/4 plus the Execute, which is amazing. You've also denied the ability to trade it up by damaging it, and the Battle Rage value that could come from having it be damaged. So yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a good play for the Druid of the Claw.
I think so, because it also plays around the weapons. Like, imagine if there would be a, let's say, Death Spite, right? You play the 4/6 Deaths, but actually, not really. Maybe it's better in taunt mode. Let's think about it.
Well, I don't know. You're a little weak to execute is the problem. Because let's say he has a weapon and he has the execute. Then you lose your Judo Claw and you haven't killed the 2-4.
So you're only weak to executes. Nothing else.
Right. But then again, that's your biggest worry when you're Druid, right? When you're facing up against Warrior. It's like the only card that's going to really punish you in the mid game.
Well, I would still play in charge, but I think the taunt is more risky but more rewarding, so it's a greedy play.
Yeah, it's very greedy.
And it's taunt. It's taunt, actually.
Well, Lifecoach is a greedy player, it seems. You're right, Lothar. It's a better play. So...
I don't think it's a better play, but just... It would have payoff if there would be no execute. Maybe it's also okay to play it in taunt mode because you have the swipe.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say...
You force your opponent to use the execute right now, so if he doesn't have a weapon, he loses the armor smith, so it's still 1-for-1, right? Even more because they use the execute, so 2-for-1. Then the Threading Berserker is 4-4 minion, which is not that bad when you have to deal with when you can deal with it with just a single swipe. The problem is you don't develop your board.
Well, I think the biggest problem is swipe is good, but if he's got a Collide of Pain, you don't want to swipe. So there's like many cases in which you don't want to end up swiping the board against a warrior. He can really force you not to want to do it, and then your Frothing lives for longer. And in this case, actually, the swipe protection is much bigger even, because he's going to be able to keep all his board, and he's going to get double armor from any damage inflicted. But I mean, he's going to have to kill it anyway. He can't let that guy live. You gotta charge, right? You gotta charge again.
I think you gotta just play it in taunt mode again, because now you saw the execute. So if you play the second Druid in charge, it's counterproductive what you just did last turn, because you kind of didn't play around execute, and now when it's baited out, you have to stick to your plan, stick to your guns. So you play the Druid of the Claw again in taunt mode.
And you're gonna 2-for-1 from the 2 minions attacking into it, Armor Smith and the Frothing. Or he's gonna find a weapon, but that's like, again, you probably would have seen it last turn instead of the second Armor Smith if you had it.
Yeah, definitely would have been a weapon instead of an Inner Rage. Well, only if that would be a Fear War Axe, because Depth Fight wouldn't achieve anything.
So, as you said, I think the taunt Druid makes a lot of sense.
I think so, it's just like...
Unless he's really afraid of the God Drop, because honestly, if he's got another one of those, this is going to be painful.
Wow.
Like, just think about the other execute. Just think what happens if he's got... Or even Death's Bite. Sacrifice both Armor Smiths with a Death's Bite, and then the Frothing gets huge, and then you're taking at least another 7 damage from that. Actually 8, possibly, from that. So that could be really painful. You're still getting a decent 2-for-1 here by smashing it as a charge minion. You're only weak to Whirlwind, but at least the biggest threat's out of the way. And now you can start using a ramp. Oh, wow. Nice card here.
Yeah, very nice card.
Lifecoach, checking for real.
The only problem is that he's lacking Wrath. I imagine that instead of the Force of Nature, he would like to see a Wrath here, right now.
Can you trade them in? Like, is that ever a mechanic they're gonna make? You can trade the Druid card for another Druid card. That way you always have Innervate.
So you have like a tutor? That would be...
Yeah, you have a Druid tutor just to fetch Wild Growth, Wrath, and
I imagine that introducing tutors in Heartstone would break the game, you know?
Dude, Sense Demons. Don't mess with my Sense Demons, man.
Actually, this will be a good card at some point. Mark my words.
Yeah, I know.
This Sense Demons will be played like, let's say 2-3 expansions. Sense Demon will be a introduction to a combo deck.
Yeah, where there will only be 2 demons, and that's it.
No, just 2 Void Colors and 2
and
or
big
3
demon,
huge big demons, and that's it. But they will be so huge, it would make sense to actually play them. So, yeah, this will happen, guys. This will happen.
I agree, and I think it's going to be amazing when it does, because I can't wait to see it. Now, there's a good pickup from Orange with the Acolyte of Pain, but Emperor's too good not to do. The problem with Emperor is that you kind of want to use it on your combo pieces.
Yeah, and that's the problem. But you know that, wow, that's actually a good pickup against Druids. I mean, against Warrior.
Nice job, Lifecoach.
The problem, that, as you said, you want usually to play the Emperor when you have combo parts in your hand, but a 5/5 minion against Druids is good in their own way. So, you know, It's not a big of a deal, I would say.
Well, it's looking like a big deal. There's yeah.
I think you have to clear. So you attack into the Armor Smith with your
Swipe
Drake,
power.
swipe Emperor, and innervate for 1. I mean, innervate.
Actually, you can just hero power it down if you want. I mean, think about it. Orange is not even damaged. You know, that's one of the things that I love about watching people play Patron Warrior is when their opponent doesn't attack into them, or when they don't find the weapons, enabling the Battle Rage is really tough. Like, you want to at least get your own face as a card draw engine, where if the opponent doesn't damage you early game, like your hero power turn where both pass, it's really painful. And Lifecoach here with the double Wild Growth opener, really not going to attack into Orange's face to feed him card draw. I really liked the start here from the Druid player.
That's true.
Oh!
Well, it kind of makes sense, but nah.
Yeah, Battle Rage for 0, that's pretty solid. And with the silence here for Lifecoach, just, you know, doing God's work. Oh, whoa!
Wait a minute. No, you still value the silence way more.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to say that about sacrificing the free one for the Acolyte of Pain, but
never let him draw.
Never let him draw. Exactly. So, the no, trading the Drake for the Acolyte of Pain was really important, but now getting the second one, it's also like one of the best draws for Orange. What do you do about that?
Orange really wanted to get like card cycle. Gnomish Inventor was good. This is a bit more annoying even because now Lifecoach has to handle it. Do you try to cycle with Azure Drake to see what you fetch?
Just combo?
Or just Ragnaros it?
I was thinking about combo for a second, you know, because if
second execute's not there, right?
Yeah, it's not there, but at the same point, if it hits face, then he can use Battle Rage. You know? And that gives him a way back.
Oh my god. This is not good. That's exactly 9 mana. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I didn't like that Ragnar's at all. I wanted to use the combo.
Well, he would have drawn into it either way, but I guess Orange did pick up exactly what he wanted. Oh man. At least he can't execute Rag yet, but Lifecoach is gonna have to handle a pretty sick board. Oh my god. Good luck, Lifecoach.
Well, he has the combo, so we can clear the first wave. Wait. No, he has the combo here, right? You play Force of Nature, combo. You use one of the 3 ends to kill the Patron, second one to kill the Warsong Commander, the third one.
You can even innervate yourself to kill another one if you'd like.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's actually how we do it, because you can kill the Acolyte of Pain with your hero, the 3 patrons with your combo, and you actually
do you want to kill the Acolyte or the Warsong Commander? I have to ask you the question.
Yeah. You leave one patron up and kill the other minions, and that's it.
Yeah, like a 3-1 patron stays up and you just kill everything else, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So he can't whirlwind, he can't do anything besides maybe use Battle Rage to enable it. Fiery War Axe. Orange here, so far, unable to deal with Ragnaros, as far as we can tell. And all the patrons are gone. Alright, so Lifecoach again with a clear board, and Orange is gonna have to find the execute, basically.
Well, he has to dig for, as you said, the execute and drop the death spite this turn. Wow, he got a second one! I wanted just to say that this would be a disaster if he didn't, if he wouldn't be able to find the second death spite. But now he has it. But still,
interestingly, there's a Heartstone Jones, and the problem with that is that it really denies him the ability to use it to enable Grom, right? Because he can't trigger the death rattle on that turn.
And now Dr. Boom can be played because of the.
Would you play that, or would you heal yourself?
I think you just play Dr. Boom this turn.
All right, do it.
Otherwise, you will have to play Ashen of War to draw 2 cards.
Oh man, I would heal myself faster than I would play Ancient Lord to draw. Yeah. Consider me scared of Patron's Burst. You can say that.
You saw one Warsong Commander already.
Oh, you know what? Lifecoach disagrees with both of us. He says, you know what? I'm just gonna play the Drake. These commentators really suck.
Yeah, that may be the case too.
Oh, the pickup to kill them all.
So Death's Bite, kill the Ragnaros, and
Face.
yeah. So
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a pretty sound play, right?
you can even
Face.
no, you just play the Death's Bite. That's it.
Yeah, you just SMR it full face. I mean, there's no reason not to. The only time where it backfires is if you didn't have the execute here, which, you know, you do have. So there's 9 damage on Lifecoach's board. He needs to fetch another 15. And now if he doesn't heal himself, this is not going to end well. He's got to know that he has to heal. Why would the opponent go face at this point?
And the heal makes him out of the range for... Oh.
That's a good pickup as well. He has seen both execute, so... I mean, it's kind of weak to another patron wave. Because he spawns a slime and then you're just going to end up in the worst spot. So I think the Ancient of Lore is still better by a slight margin. And then you can play Belcher next turn with a Shredder.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you use the direct to kill the 2-3. Because you have to kill the 2-3. You can't allow him to have another target for inner rages and... I don't know.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because, you know, if you bring down Harrison to 1, it'll just die to the Death's Bite AoE, where in this case, if you use the Drake, you're going to be able to get yourself any bit more survivability on the board. And he makes that trade, so Lifecoach on his way to possibly survive.
Oh, I thought that was an inner rage for a second. And
that was going to be lethal.
Yeah.
Not the same kind of rage, not the orange type of rage.
So can you... You can't drop Gromash here, right? Or you can. It's 18 damage from Druid, 19 with hero power, and you saw 1 Savage Roar, you saw 1 Keeper, and you saw 1 Swipe, and you saw 2 Druid of the Claws. So there's a limited amount of waste of Druid to deal that kind of damage. Yeah.
But you still have to play it defensively, right? Like, there's no... Unless you go face with Death Bite, you Battle Rage for 2 cards, pick up your Inner Rage and win.
Oh, that's also a good point.
But doesn't pick it up.
So now he's looking straight?
No,
but
man,
that's like losing the game. That's
well, you're losing
the game.
But you're dead on board if you don't, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Well, good luck. Good luck, Orange. I got little else to say at this point. This is going to be a tough one, and he knows it. He absolutely knows it, and that Belcher is probably going to make Orange concede that there is no answer left in his deck. 2 Death Bites are out. He's played 2 Executes. At best, he's going to be able to get a really, really big frauding, but by the time that happens, he's probably going to be dead.
Ref for free and draw a card.
Sounds balanced, man. Sounds balanced. Got me in.
Good card. Arcane Wrath, I would say. Do you know that first Arcane shot? I know, like Mage had a...
Arcane Blast? Yeah, Arcane Blast.
Arcane
it was
Blast.
the old
I was
shiv,
looking,
right?
Yeah, the old shiv was for Mage, and it was for 1 mana, deal 1 damage, draw a card.
Well, Rogue had 1 mana shiv for a while too.
Yeah, but that was after the card was cut from Mage, right?
Right, the Arcane Wrath. Well, he does get another execute. Wow, he actually gets to... Wow, okay, that's a pretty good streak of top decks. But the question is, how do you win? That's kind of like... Yeah, I was going to say. Can you really not play
Taskmaster and kill the Harrison Jones with your Taskmaster, and that's it. You leave 3 minions on board.
Wow, could he actually win this?
Well, if Lifecoach doesn't pick up a Swipe Keeper Savage Roar, then he might actually make a comeback here. We'll see. He's 1 of lethal now. Okay.
So you have to at least kill one of the patrons.
That's true. And then you play...
You know that much. It's just...
Emperor and Pelter Shredder.
Yeah, you don't want to give him the boombots to possibly get more patrons, I guess. Although, the slime already does that if it dies. Oh, man. Although, what happens if you just Belcher face, Hero Power face? You've seen to Armor Smith, so now the opponent is going to be down to 1. So if he armors up, he can't use a weapon to punch the Belcher, so he'll have to trade his board into it.
Hey, that's a very good point, Nexus.
Is that really ever, like, play? I think it might be the play. Like, you just armor up, maybe play Dr. Boom and go face with everything. He's going to opt to kill the patron, so only 1 remains for now. We've seen patrons come back from worse situations.
Yeah.
And as you said, he's going to be playing Emperor Thorsten here. Now, Orange can still climb back in the game.
But Lifecoach has best combo in the game. Big Game Hunter, your own Dr. Boom.
And that is not it.
That's game. That's game for Lifecoach. It's 1-1. I would say, right? There's no way out of it.
Well, if the Paladin Shredder does what a Paladin Shredder does and Doomsayer comes out, then there's a chance, but it's real.
You would have to use Inner Rage. But you still lose.
Over time, yeah, I think he would. I mean, he's still alive next turn. He's not dead yet. It's just that he loses all the patrons.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, never mind what I'm talking about. Yeah. Still, the game is going on. Look at that! Still going on.
So, I mean, yeah, you've got to trade into those patrons, and you hope it's not Doomsayer. Hey, what's up? Can you wait and fish all day, mate? Alright, Dr. Balance coming down and probably not going to play anything else, because, you know, there's a chance there's a brawl. Not that it would matter much, but why overextend if you don't have to? And the Frothing not doing anything. And Orange is gonna lose this one, so Lifecoach equalizes the series 1-1. Lifecoach still has his own patron, and Orange still has his own patron. So both patron warriors here are actually losing their first game in the series.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by that, because if patron warrior doesn't draw his Emperor on time, it's really harder than you think to actually win with the patron. It's like you either need a really great opening hand with patrons, Inner Rage and Whirlwinds, or a Emperor into Warsong Commander, because then you can squeeze out different types of combos in your hand. So I think that the most important part of Emperor is making the Warsong Commander and 1 Whirlwind cheaper, you know, and that's it. You can play around with the cards that you will get, like from you don't need the patron if you can have a Warsong Commander cheaper with Frothing Berserkers. So Emperor is more important without the patrons than with the patrons, in my opinion. But on the other hand, without the Emperor, you need the patrons.
It's one of those things where I think I said that a while back while casting another tourney. It's like it feels like Emperor Thorsten carries Patron Warrior. Like it carries a few decks, but I think it carries Patron Warrior more so than more decks, like most decks. And I really like that about it.
So who's playing what now? Orange is Patron Warrior, okay, and Lifecoach is Handlock. And we didn't see Orange playing Big Game Hunter in his Patron, but he has Execute in his opening hand. And 2 Molten Giants is not what
yeah, you don't
really wants to see.
It's not the most amazing, unless you end up life tapping yourself to death through Pit Lords. I don't think you're going to get those out anytime soon.
But he has 2 Taunt Givers, so that's at least something. And the Emperor, which is not that bad. Lifecoach would probably coin out the Twilight Drake, because his hand sucks a lot and he can't do anything else.
You're gonna be weak to Execute, but what can you really do at this point? That's kind of. I mean, do you ever just play? No, there's nothing else to do. I mean, you could wait 1 turn, I guess, but
you can tap and play the coin for whatever.
Yeah, just to improve your hand quality. Like it's happened before, but I think he was fairly satisfied, because if he wanted to do that, he might have done it earlier. Like if he wanted to, if the Drake wasn't sufficient for him. Oh wow, Orange actually plays Harrison Jones as a counterplay to other Patron Warriors or Hunters and whatnot. So it's a very good tech here. Both players implementing it in their lineup.
And Orange is saving the execute. Yeah, that's also a good point. But Orange is saving the execute, and this is a really important thing, because you save it for a huge taunt. Otherwise, you can't win against Handlock. If you don't have
one of the best
execute.
decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Handlock is just so good against Patient Warrior, and that's one of the things you have to keep in mind is it feels good to kill the Drake early, but at the same time, it's not going to be your win condition.
Exactly.
If it gets taunted up, then sure, I mean, have a field day and execute it, but otherwise, use your weapons.
3 taunt givers in the hand allows Lifecoach to actually drop one. And I think that's crucial information for Orange here, that his opponent has more taunt givers in his hand.
Do you think he reads that much into it?
Yeah, I think so. Like, he should. He definitely should, and that's also a reason why should he play with the execute really carefully.
So Sludge Belcher is a sacrifice because the Deathbite will take care of it. You could play the Healbot. I mean, it's not that big of a problem. He still can't charge it, like charge everything into it yet. I mean, the problem is Lifecoach is desperately looking for those Hellfires.
Yep.
He's gonna have to find them very soon.
I imagine he would have played the Belcher instantly if he would have the Hellfire in hand. Instantly might be a exaggeration when it comes to Lifecoach, but I would still think he would have played it faster if he would have the Hellfire in hand. Because now, if his opponent setups the patrons, he's like, okay, you have the Hellfire. If not, then you kind of lose. Second execute for Orange.
The most important card here in the matchup, if it gets to the late game and Lifecoach is hiding behind a wall of taunts, the 2 executes will be primordial. It's just going to be the winning card by a long shot.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else to say about it.
Orange is thinking about not dropping the patrons because he doesn't have a second card to activate those. I imagine he would have just played the patrons with a Whirlwind if he would have that. But now he has to wait. And this is a moment when Lifecoach can take advantage, a huge advantage over that.
Well, speaking of advantage, it's gonna get executed, but that's going to be the first step.
Well,
where it's really like getting that Doctor Boom almost unharmed. He really wants to get it out. Do you Emperor Thorson or
no? I think you play Molten Giant, Dark Bomb, Harrison Jones, sacrifice the 2/3 because you don't need it anyway, and then you go face with the Belcher. Patron seems like a really good play this turn because your hand is so stacked, but at the same time you're not doing much against that Harrison Jones, which just kills your Belcher. Which I think is
going to eat it up for no reason.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to have that Belcher up for the Deathbite. So I guess this will be the Mountain Giant turn.
I mean, if you play Healbot,
so many possibilities.
You can also.
Okay, I didn't suspect that.
My shield for
does he ever just defend of Argus here? Oh wow, he does, and he's gonna trade it into Harrison Jones. That's gonna give the Deathbite a tiny bit more value though, because it'll kill the 3/4 and finish off the Belcher, but it will take Orange's life total a bit lower. So maybe he's hoping to bait in some executes somehow, but I don't think it'll happen.
I'm trying to analyze this move. I'm not sure how good is it. Like, what do you think about just
fetching? I think he's just looking for Hellfires, man. Like, you're looking into this a lot more than I think Lifecoach might be. Like, he considered playing the Giant for sure, but I think his biggest consideration was, hey, when will I find the time to kill all those patrons if I never find the Hellfires? And that's a really big issue.
Yeah, you might be right, and also Dark One might be used only to, like,
remove
one patron. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Hellfire 1 patron. The dream. The worst part is you do it. Like, if there's a patron facing you and you have no answer but Hellfire, you do it. Actually, he's considering at least playing Fraudings and whatnot. He must be looking at that. So he's gonna keep that Warsong Commander. He might actually wait 1 turn before he pops it, because he's got the Grim Patron Warsong Commander next turn. So Orange just armoring up and passing like a good Grim Patron warrior. They all seem to do that. Okay. Now, surely. Now the good thing is, on 8, he either vomits the patrons and the Warsong Commander,
So many.
but if he does that, he can't execute. So maybe the Mountain Giant and the Twilight Drake here will see play. It's going to annoy Orange to have to waste his entire turn executing them and using his Death Bite.
479 damage this turn, so he would be at 12. I mean at yeah, 12. So you want to set up lethal for next turn. So yeah, definitely the Mountain Giant and Twilight Drake is a good move here, because you go. I think, well, what if you need to kill the Armor Smith this turn?
You do. I mean, I think you do, because otherwise the Warsong Commander. Then again, Execute doesn't kill the Giant. It's just that he's gonna get so much armor from wiping the board away.
So you
I think it's a
attack
bit
with
risky.
your 3/3 into the Armor Smith, and
I might even use the
multiple it?
Belcher, but sure. I might use the armor. I would use the Belcher here because it's just gonna die to the AOE. So now he has to split his damage between the 3/4 and the 1/2, and the 1/2 does stay up. And now how does he execute and play patrons? Not sure about that. Gonna have to make that call. If he makes that play, he knows it's really flimsy. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's also leaving you a bit vulnerable. So he's thinking of playing one patron and then executing, but honestly, I think his executes are gonna be... Like, his Grim Patron are gonna get more value later, because he's got a second Death Spy, so surely now that he picked that up on the top deck, he feels a little more comfortable, quote-unquote, wasting the first one.
Double execute this turn is a good move, I would say.
Yeah, it's not like his options were that numerous anyway.
But now Lifecoach will just play Dr. Boom, I guess.
Yeah, and there's no AoE right now for Orange,
You know what?
no Whirlwind, no second
You
execute.
know what? I think that Orange should have played the first Death Spite, I mean the second Death Spite, before he attacked. So he
Yeah,
actually
to trigger
uses...
it now.
And trigger it next turn, because without that he's one turn behind. And he needs the AoE effect next turn. It's too
No,
late.
I agree with you. I think using it first, what it would have done is, sure, it would have overridden what he already had, but at the same time, it would have made sure that he could get a second trigger immediately.
Yeah, and that's I think that might lose him the game right now.
Yeah,
That's one
Lifecoach
of
just seemed
the-
to execute, so...
Yeah, so at this point, Lifecoach seems to be really comfortable, and what he has to do is just ensure that there will be no breaking points for like double throwing berserkers with something ridiculous, and that's it.
That's a Whirlwind, it could be crazy. No, it's not.
And
Still
look at that.
not bad at all, though.
Yeah, but look at that. Now Lifecoach knows that there will be no activator from the Death Spite, so he did feel more secure about the position on board. Imagine if the Death Spite would be on one durability. I don't think that the Emperor would have seen play this turn.
No, of course not. He would have had to taunt up the heal bot even. Like, just go for a heal bot taunt, try to get himself up in life before there's a second wave of
Yeah.
damage
Because
coming up.
Now Orange is in a point when he has to kill the 2/2, but he doesn't really want to do that. And if he deals 4 damage to the face, he knows he might activate a single Molten Giant. Because it's for 1 mana less. So it will be actually for 6.
So what does Orange's play? Do you punch face and hope that he just doesn't taunt up behind giants?
I think so. But
Alright, so it's an all-in
kinda
play,
sucks.
and it's... Yeah, he's praying for that one. And he's not playing Frauding, despite the fact that he won't have the mana to play it and the
second Dark
the
Bomb.
patron.
Wait. So you can squeeze.
Well, he can squeeze all of a Ragnaros damage.
Ragnaros
That's
damage.
guaranteed lethal.
Yeah, and that's guaranteed lethal. GG to Lifecoach.
Lifecoach with the Emperor Thorsten lowering the cost of everything, allowing him for a turn 9 lethal here against the Patron Warrior. You know what? That's 3 losses in a row for whoever is playing Patron. So we'll have to see if Lifecoach can take the 3rd win with his own Patron, because Orange looked to have a pretty decent lineup against it as well. So do we have to assume is the weak deck of the day? Like, it's kind of weird to say that after all the time where people say that Patron is just the best deck ever.
You know what? At least my impression is that Patron wins if he gets the nuts. and if someone misplays against the Patron. But if someone plays really well around those, and you don't have like the insane nuts with Emperor on turn 6 or 5, then you have a really tough time against current metagame. So it's not like Patron is super strong in overall, but it can be just nuts when he gets the best draw. And that's like the opposite of, let's say, Zoo, which is super consistent. Just because it's a good deck, like you just drop minions and that's it. You don't rely on a combo. So I think that Patron might be at this point in this point of metagame that where there will be needs for some changes in the decks to ensure that you will be more consistent.
You know, it kind of reminds me of how Face Hunter keeps greedy decks in check. I think that Patron Warrior, if it cycles out, is going to keep control decks in check. Like, of course, Handlock being one of the major exceptions, but like anything slow, Patron Warrior can definitely just keep drawing nonstop and figure out what they need, and they can keep those in check. So they don't have to like keep the uber greedy. Like Face Hunter will any deck that tries to be a little greedier than the average will get punished by Face Hunter. But control decks not necessarily. I mean, control decks could sometimes play very well against Face, but Patron will punish those. So it feels like one of those decks you pull out sometimes just to keep a metagame in check and bring it back in a cycle where you think it needs to be.
Yeah. Good point.
Alright, so it's looking like a Handlock versus Patron again. Lifecoach being on the Patron end.
Yeah, but now, look at that. There's an Alexstrasza in Orange's hand.
Long time no see, lady.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've seen her in Handlock.
Some people were subbing Jaraxxus with Alexstrasza because they simply didn't have the card.
Well, I know that Alexstrasza used to be... A lot of people used to say Jaraxxus is worse because you can't use it on your opponent's face to get lethal. Remember how you could just drop 2 giants, then your Alexstrasza win? That's what a lot of people used to say about Jaraxxus. He didn't give you that offensive potential that Alexstrasza did. But since everybody usually uses Jaraxxus to heal up, it became kind of a worthless argument over time.
Yeah. But now Lifecoach is looking at maybe that insane draw that I just said. If he draws a Floating Berserker and a Warsong Commander before he drops the Emperor, this is just nuts.
Yeah, and he's playing the Unstable Ghouls as well. I just want to point that out. Like, it's really important that this is pointed out because it will act as another Whirlwind if he does get the charge combo off. But more importantly, it's a card you like to play against aggro decks. Against a deck like Handlock, the only value it really has is to make your Patron combos better. Like, it's not going to help you survive at all, which is sometimes a bit of a problem. It feels like a dead card against something like a Handlock.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think about slamming the Ancient Water and killing it with the Fairy Vorax?
I wonder.
You don't want
to getting rid of it as fast as possible before he taunts them up, because you still don't have the execute. So I could see that. It's also putting you on 30 health, which the benefit of that is you're close to getting to Battle Rage.
This is also the point. Like, some people are playing on the one Fairy Vorax in the Patron decks. This is something I really dislike because there's Fairy Vorax's purpose is to actually activate your Battle Ragers most of the time. Oh, look at that, that's an execute. But it has to be kept until there will be a huge taunt. So, and it will have immense value with the Emperor being played. Like, imagine 0-mana execute. That's like nuts. The nuts.
Yeah, it's the best way to go through it. Like, after you've started the combo, this just allows you to weave in a removal piece very easily. But there's a Belcher. There's no Taunter yet, so you're still gonna be looking for specific cards. I mean, this is a good card, but it's not good enough yet.
Yeah.
Patron here, like, Emperor Thorson feels good, but you're really looking for the Warsong Command. Oh, wow, the pickup. Lifecoach is going to slam that Well, okay, never mind, it's Lifecoach. He's not going to slam it, he's going to take his sweet time, but he's probably going to play it, right?
That would be my guess.
I mean, double Whirlwind for free with the Patron with Warsong. I mean, how do you not take that deal? You'll have a 1-mana Battle Rage for a turn 8 infinite redraw. I mean, this is just crazy. Oh, God. I want to talk about the nuts here. There it is.
He only lacks the Floating Berserker. That's the only card he lacks. And Floating Berserker is one of the ways that you win against Handlocks, because sometimes Patrons are not enough.
Yeah, that's right. But if you get like a 6-mana combo with Warsong and Patron, right? It's gonna go down to 6. You can still weave in a frauding on the back end. Like it's gonna be a little later in the game, but you've got a free execute. You have 2 whirlwinds. It seems like a pretty good deal.
Of course, it's like imagine that after against any other deck, than Handlock. This would almost guarantee that the Patron will win.
Yeah, that's right. Like that's basically it. It's a hand that pretty much doesn't get countered by anything outside of Handlock, which you're always afraid of really big taunters. And if you don't OTK him, there's always a lot of healing on the back end. So you're always scared of the Hellfire wipe. So you really have to punch once and hard, and then force him to be playing from behind. Which leads me to one question: how do you think Lotheb fares in a Patron Warrior deck?
I have no answer yet, because I would rather see a Heartstone Jones instead of a Lotheb in Patrons, because it's more important against the mirror matches. I mean, in the mirror match, to have the Heartstone Jones instead of a Lotheb, because it guarantees you, first of all, a draw, which is crucial, and second of all, it gives you the option to actually destroy a card of your opponent, and this is really important. Wow,
oh my god, this is going to be so sick.
Why did
the
Orange
inner
play
rage top deck?
Why did Orange play that Dr. Boom?
I have no idea, but I like fireworks.
Imagine if that would be a hand with double Frothing Berserker.
GG. That was it. Well, then again, do you play against double Frothing Berserker? I don't think so, but this is just so scary.
But
I mean, I can just think of all the... I don't even know what to say, man. Like, look at the amount of card draw he's gonna get from this.
This is just...
Yeah, this is insane. All he has to do is basically not lose the freshly spawned Patron every time. Like, that's basically the only thing he's got to do. Oh, God. Well, that's less insane all of a sudden.
I didn't like to not use the Whirlwind first, no?
I would have used Whirlwind before I traded away into the blue box. But he was probably afraid of the exact same result. He's still going to be able to get a decent Battle Rage, it's just not nearly as good as it was. But Orange doesn't have his Hellfire yet. He's going to be able to get a 6 Shadow Flame though. So the question is whether or not Lifecoach will use Inner Rage with the weapon to kill the Ancient Watcher, and we'll have to see before the end of the turn. So far, it's not looking like he is, and no, he's not. He's actually just going to get Shadow Flamed off the board. So again, a big missed opportunity here for Lifecoach with the...
I think that this turn was played horribly by Lifecoach, to be honest.
What he really had in mind, I think, is that he would at least keep the Warsong. I think he didn't really plan too much for the possibility that it would deal 4 to the 1 card that enables the spam.
I think he just, when Lifecoach played the first Patron and iterated it, that's the moment when you play Whirlwind.
No, I agree. With just 2 of them, it's good enough. You're going to get 2 new targets. Yeah. It's unlikely it's going to kill both. And they've already got charge. You can trade them away. I mean, I agree with you. I think overall, the play you highlighted was a bit more consistent, but Lifecoach might have not seen it or considered the likelihood of the Warsong Commander getting pinged off.
Yeah, I know there's a slight chance of actually killing the Warsong Commander with the bomb, but, those things happen, and then you lose a game.
It would have happened, like, the odds would have been very similar either way.
But you could have gotten more charge minions, and that's what's important. I don't know. Maybe Lifecoach was playing better. I would have to, see the turn again.
Alright, so Lifecoach is going to use his Inner Rage on the Acolyte of Pain to cycle to the second Warsong Commander. He can still set up a huge amount of burst, but again... it's going to come down to getting the perfect cards. He needs the second Warsong Commander, because otherwise this Frothing is never getting enabled.
Yep. But Orange doesn't have the Taunt enable. And this is really bad for him.
Actually, yeah, Orange is in a bad spot, because if Lifecoach picks up, just a bit of what he needs, this is going to be...
Imagine Warsong Commander, you have 2 unstable ghouls. You can charge those in. So you have 3, 6, 9, that's actually 9. So if he draws Warsong Commander, he has the full combo of 3 Whirlwind effects. I assume that might be a bad thing. Like that's lethal without a taunt. 1 minion that you can sacrifice.
Yeah, of course. Just
those
to get
two
extra...
unstable ghosts, so you get +2 damage from each attack. On one defrauding berserker, then you get full AoE, so like +4 or even +5. So it's like +15 damage just from the unstable ghosts.
So is he gonna go for the Iron Beak Owl Dark Bomb play, or is he gonna try to develop a Watcher to maybe get himself? No, he's gonna go for the Silence play on the second Acolyte, but that's 2 draws possible for Lifecoach to pick up his Warsong Commander.
And there it is!
And he finds it! Exactly 9 mana here for the second Frothing, double
and
unstable.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4 minions, 5, 7 minions. So one effect is +7 on your Frothing Berserker, so 2 effects is 14.
Plus the trade.
And plus the trade, so that's 18. You got lethal.
Well, that was a pretty good top deck here from Lifecoach, I guess.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the only card that gave him the win here before Orange could stabilize.
Yeah. Wow, that's insane. This is just insane. How much damage is this? Like.
So I heard Frothing Berserker as a balanced card. What do you say, Lothar?
Yeah, it is. Of course it is.
Okay. Just want to make sure it wasn't, you know, problematic.
21 damage.
Oh, you know what? We don't like Miracle Rogue. It's not very interactive. Well, it turns out Patron Warriors like the new Miracle Rogue, ladies and gents.
And
this
not
is
the exactly
bad deck
what I
of the
said.
day.
Look,
Yeah.
Patron won when he actually got the nuts and a little bit lucky. Because that was the only out for Lifecoach that turn. I didn't